Thank you for joining me for Family Time. I'm Tracey Johnson. Well, the term Friends for Life has new meaning for these two guys. We'll share their emotional story with you in our segment we call Making a Difference. And if you were being paid for being a mom, did you know that your paycheck should be worth at least $138,000? I'll tell you where we got that figure a little later.
Husband remove any weapon from the household because I was very nervous when we did have the gun in the house.
It's estimated that 34% of households where children live have at least one firearm. Even if you don't have one, your child could be playing at a home that does. And thousands of kids are rolling up their sleeping bags, packing their bags. They're off to summer camp. But are they prepared psychologically? We've got advice coming up next.
Family Time with Tracey Johnson, brought to you by Chevy Trucks. Chevy, driving Texas.
Well, more than 6 million children in the United States will go to summer camp this year. 60% are camps where the children sleep away from home. This can be quite an emotional experience for a child. So how do we prepare them for the separation? Well, please welcome to Family Time Dr. Gail Gross, an expert on juvenile education and development issues. Doctor, good to see you.
Good morning, Tracy. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Let me just say that I never made it through summer camp. I made it through the first night, packed my bags, my parents came and brought me home. So how do we get our...
Good for them.
That's right. They are awesome parents. So, Doctor, how do we prepare our children for that time away from home?
Well, you know, first, Tracy, it's important to take your cue from your children. Some children are 9 years old and ready to go, and some are 12 and never ready to go. And really, we have to first practice and rehearse our children by giving them little sleepovers with grandma, grandpa, a close relative, a good friend. See how they do, if they like it, if they don't, if they can deal with the anxiety and the fear of the separation and the unknown. And then if they are comfortable with that, we really can move to the next step. Research small steps, small camps away from home, 2 weeks for perhaps the first year, then moving on to a month or 3 weeks, depending on the child. It really is a matter of taking the cue from your child.
You also mentioned that maybe a good idea is to visit the camp ahead of time or maybe meet the camp director.
Once we've decided on a camp, parents have to do their homework here. Research the camp. You know, there's a 1-800 number, 1-800-482-CAMP, which is a basic research engine for camps. Find a few camps that look right for your child. Out of them, hone it down to about 3. Then let your child invest them in the process. Let them pick 1 out of the 3. Go visit it with your child. Visit the director. See how he handles homesickness, how he handles discipline. See if you like him. And then walk your child through the day of camp at that camp, what it's like to be in the bunk room and a cabin and the dining room. And you'll really see if your child likes that camp. And, of course, there are interest camps. Your child may be shy, want to do something in journaling or writing or acting. They may be athletic. They might want competition like tennis or baseball or football, swimming. There are all kinds of family camps. So invite your child into the process. That's the most important thing. If they're invested, they're more likely to go and stay there.
Right. Obviously, we don't want to send them to a horseback riding camp if they don't like horses. I mean.
or are allergic, and I have a story just like that.
Okay, so you're right. So the parents, what I hear you saying, the parents have got to do the homework first and then include the child. And let this be a family-type planning for the summer.
Yes, and a connectedness, and have empathy for your child, and also don't burden your child with your fears. You know, parents have anxiety and separation also.
Well, that was my
so
next...
you don't want to...
Well, that was my next question to you. How do you prepare the parents? I'm thinking that's my issue. How do you prepare the parents for that time away from their child? Because one of your things is resist calling. You think that's not a good idea?
Resist calling out of the rule of the call. In other words, the camp will have a structure, and that's the structure you have to follow. Your child has to know it, and you have to be vigilant. I always say to parents, know the rules, and then tell your children honestly the rules. That's very important, so they know what to expect. And then call when it's appropriate to call. I always say leave a letter for your child ahead of time, so when they arrive at camp, there's already a letter for them. Have stamped envelopes for them to write back. But always be honest and really reliable. Children want you to be there for them, and that they can depend on that. That's how you really build their own security. If they trust you, they'll trust themselves and others. So you want to really set the structure to be in line with what the camp structure is, and then follow through. So call them when it's appropriate, and that they expect it is the key.
You know, Doctor, we had an interesting conversation amongst a group of parents, and some felt very strongly about allowing your child to take a cell phone with them to camp. Others felt that no, this is... I see the reaction.
No.
Okay, absolutely not.
We have to know the rules, and they have to know the rules. And that's, I always tell parents, for first-timers, practice and rehearse your children. I like to take them to camp and take them with a buddy or a relative, even if you can arrange for them to go the first year with a sibling or a cousin or a friend. Be sure that the camp director disciplines the way you discipline and handles homesickness in a way that you feel is comfortable. You know, the parent has to parent. That's what parenting is about. You're entitled to parent. And then within that framework, the child and you follow the camp rules. And so if they practice that a little ahead of time, they're not insecure. They know what to expect. And if they know what to expect, they know how to act. And then you're building self-confidence, competence. And your camp is to be a maturing process. It's not a tough love, which I call an oxymoron, and and it has moron on the other end.
Right.
And it's not about a rite of passage. It's fun. It's relaxing, and it's supposed to be creative. And there it becomes a maturing process. That's what you really want.
It's supposed to be a good time.
A good time for all.
That's right.
And if it doesn't work out, go get your child. And if you do that, if you advocate your child and your child can count on you, then they'll try again next year. And the whole thing is to keep empathy. I call it the empathic process. You and your child talk together, because the real issue is fear of the unknown. And if you talk and communicate with your child without making them feel ashamed if they leave, or guilty if they leave, or bad if they leave, or not meeting your approval standards if they leave. If you stay open, they're more likely to stay.
Right, opposite.
Invest them in the process.
Doctor, wonderful advice. We'll get back to you at the end of the summer.
Great. I look forward to hearing how your child did, Tracy.
There you go. Thanks so much, Doctor.
Thanks.
Well, next up on Family Time, the 10 best decisions you can make as a woman. And can eating chocolate really make your unborn child sweeter? It may sound crazy, but some seem to think so. We've got that story coming up next. You're watching Family Time. Stay with us. And welcome back to Family Time. Well, did you know that scientists found that pregnant women who ate chocolate every day gave birth to babies who smiled and laughed more? No kidding. The study also found that babies who got the sweet stuff via mom showed less fear in new situations. Now, the report went on to say that researchers can't say definitely if the chocolate is responsible or if there are other factors involved. But doesn't chocolate make everyone a little happier? I think so. Well, hey, parents, there are new guidelines out for children. The new guidelines urge doctors to check children for high blood pressure at the age of 3 during routine office visits. Now, according to the director of the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute, the real problem is obesity. The Institute believes that we are setting the stage for our children to develop into really unhealthy young adults. The updated guidelines can be found in the July issue of the Journal of Pediatrics. And did you know that you may have a bottle of children's aspirin in your cabinet that contains adult doses of a painkiller? Now, according to McNeil Consumer and Specialty Pharmaceuticals, between February 5th and April 1st of this year, some bottles of children's Motrin grape chewable ibuprofen tablets were distributed nationwide to wholesale and retail customers that might mistakenly contain an adult dose of a different kind of over-the-counter painkiller. Now, the manufacturing lot number, which is embossed on the carton end flap and printed on the bottle label under McNeil's address, is expiration 106 JAM 108. If you think that your child may have taken the adult product, You should contact your pediatrician immediately or the Poison Control Center. Anyone identifying one of the bottles is asked to contact McNeil's Consumer Relationship Center. There's the number on your screen. That's 1-800-962-5357. Now, according to the American Academy of Pediatrics, an acetaminophen overdose can lead to nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain, and liver failure. Well, statistics show that 34% of homes with children have a gun. Chances are, if you don't, your child may have a play date at a home where one exists. If your child encountered a gun, what would he or she do? You may be surprised by the results of a test done on middle school boys. Here's Rachel Hall.
Although their father is a police officer, these boys have never handled a gun.
I had my husband remove any weapon from the household because I was very nervous when we did have the gun in the house.
It's estimated that 34% of children live in a home with at least one firearm. So even if you don't have a gun, there is a chance that your child could have a play date in a home that does. Parenting Magazine says we can't underestimate the allure guns have for kids.
In a recent study of 8 to 12-year-old boys, they put them in a room where guns were hidden, and 72% of the boys handled the guns even though they'd gotten instructions about gun safety.
After this study, researchers found that the message about gun safety needs to be repeated once a month. You can teach your child with an unloaded gun or realistic-looking toy like this one. Begin by telling your child if they see a gun, stop, don't touch, leave the area, and tell an adult. Then role-play these rules in different settings. Ask him what he would do if he found it. Test him once you are confident he understands. Place a gun in a room your child is about to go into. If he comes running out to tell you, great. If not, role-play again. Ask your host if there are guns in the home before the play date begins. For more information, check out Parenting Magazine. I'm Rachel Hall.
Coming up a little later on Family Time, imagine being a perfect match, not to a stranger, but to your best friend. The story in our segment we call Making a Difference. And when do you find time for yourself as a mom? Not an easy task, I know, but it's something you've got to do for yourself. We've got advice coming up next. Stay with us. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Family Time. Well, over the past several years, author and national speaker Pam Farrell has surveyed women on their key needs. This is how her newest book, The 10 Best Decisions a Woman Can Make, came about. Well, through her journey across the country and abroad, she found that women of today are very stressed and that it negatively affects their lives. She says, you know you are too busy when cleaning up the dining room means getting the fast food bags out of the back seat of the car. Please welcome to Family Time, Pam Farrell. That is what caught my attention. Nice to see you. That is so true that it's almost scary.
Oh, I know. And women today are so busy. I mean, there's a list in 10 Best Decisions a Woman Can Make. There's kind of a little funny checklist, you know. You're too busy when your grocery list has items on it that don't even exist anymore because you never make it to the grocery store. You know, you're too busy when you think it's more strategic to buy clean underwear and socks than to try to find any in your kids' room to wash. But seriously, women are too busy. About 2/3 of the women say that stress is negatively impacting their life. And that's really why I wrote 10 Best Decisions a Woman Can Make.
It's an awesome book, and it also caught my attention that you said if a woman was paid, she would make at least $138,000. I'm thinking at least. When you think of all the things that a mom does,
Exactly.
the taxi driver, the cleaner, although those are things that
tutor, party planners, secretary, receptionist, the list goes on. The nurse.
Yes.
And that's just the stuff that moms do naturally, that they usually don't give themselves very much credit for, but women are really valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's kind of good when Dad has to stay home a couple of days, isn't it?
It usually raises the value level. He's like, oh, honey, what do you need?
Thinking your paycheck goes up at that point. Let's talk about just a few of them. You list 10 in your book, and it's an awesome book. Let's talk about a few. The first one is decide to decide.
Right. That's probably the most important one. That is the concept of we make our choices and our choices make us. And so there comes to a time in a woman's life when she just says, okay, enough is enough. You know, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Or here's my dreams. How come I'm not making any headway towards my dreams? Or I have some hopes and goals. I just want off the rat race. Whatever it is that's going on in her life that's causing her to have some disequilibrium or thinking through her life, when she chooses, then life will change.
You have to take control.
That's right, decisions.
Mm-hmm. Decide to take good care of me.
That's probably the hardest one for women because we women, we have a hard time taking care of ourselves because we're so busy taking care of other people. In fact, my doctor even said, Pam, do you realize that people in helping professions tend to die 10 years sooner than everybody else because they're so busy taking care of other people, they don't take care of themselves. And I told her, I said, that's like every woman I know, every mom I know especially. And so when women realize how valuable they are, it gives them permission then to take good care of themselves. Like, you and I travel a lot, and so you get on an airplane, and what do they always tell you? You know, in case of an emergency, put the air mask on you first, oxygen mask on you first, and then the people you travel with. And that's just good advice for life. When we take care of ourselves, we can go longer and stronger, and then take care of all the other people that are so valuable to us. And in 10 Best Decisions a Woman Can Make, there's a lot of little tips that I give that are common sense. You know, eat right, exercise, drink more water. Little steps like that can add up in a big way over time.
But it is true because when you become ill as the mother, you see really everything kind of falls by the wayside and the whole family just kind of falls apart at that point, you know.
Right, sometimes you want to stay in bed after being sick because you get up and go, the house.
Yes,
exactly.
Exactly. Decide to be successful in each season.
Right, right. Well, you can be successful in each season by asking strategic questions. There's strategic questions that we can ask. For example, if you're the mom of toddlers or teens, they're going to take more time. So you might have to adapt your dreams during those seasons of life. If you are the mom... if you're married to a midlife man, it might have to take a little bit more of your time, too. If you are headed into retirement or that second half of life, that's one of the best times of a woman's life. One of my friends says the rest can be the best. And so there's simple questions that you can ask at each season of life to help you make good decisions for that season of life. For example, if you're a young woman, I encourage you to put patterns into your life that help you for your whole life. For example, when author made a necklace for his daughter that just had 3 question marks and 3 hearts on it, and she just asked simple questions to help her make those key decisions to just show respect for God, respect for others, and respect for yourself. So a simple tool helps you make great decisions.
And a perfect time for me to make the point that this just isn't for young moms or young women, that you talk about each season, and there's time to make good decisions. It's not too late to start.
No, it's never too late to start. And sometimes they're really simple little concepts. For example, one thing that's bought me more time is just a friend who said to me one day, Pam, sometimes it's the right thing, but the wrong time. Another friend said to me, Pam, do first that which only you can do. Other women, for example, I can hire somebody to clean my bathroom, but I'm the only one that can parent my boys. So sometimes it's a little clue from a mentor on the road ahead.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the tips that I give in 10 Best Decisions is develop that relationship network. In fact, women live longer if they have a set of girlfriends that they can be honest with.
Is that about the prioritizing people?
Yes.
Good advice.
There's certain relationships that really
encourage or
discourage you. That's right. That's right. And so I encourage you to get mentors. I encourage you to have a positive friendship circle because it actually helps you live longer. One of the best things a woman can do is strap on her tennis shoes, call up a girlfriend, let's do a walk and talk. Everybody doesn't deserve the same amount of access to you.
Right.
You know, your husband, because he said, I do, he deserves to be answered on that cell phone. Your children, too. Your mother, because she walked the floor with you.
You have a wealth of information, and it's great information to help us just kind of slow down and take a few steps back and look at life and enjoy it as it passes by. Pam, really great to meet you. Thank you. Thanks for sharing your book with us. Thank you. Well, the story coming up on Family Time, it's a story of really true friendship as a friend gives the gift that only he could give. It's the gift of life. We've got that story for you after break. You're watching Family Time. I hope you'll stay with us. Well, thousands of men and women are still in Iraq risking their lives as they protect the freedoms that we are enjoying. But one U.S. Marine made a special trip home to save the life of a friend, a very dear friend. Bridget Smith from our sister station, Ken's TV in San Antonio, has the story of 2 true lifelong friends.
Jason Tully and Jeremy Duncan have been buddies since 6th grade. 15 years later, they couldn't have imagined themselves taking questions from reporters about a medical procedure that will be life-changing for both of them.
Which is the reason why I took leave.
When First Lieutenant Jeremy Duncan found out he was a good match for Jason, who's in need of a kidney, he says he didn't think twice about donating.
My faith in God's helped me, help me understand, how important this is.
He knows how I feel, and he knows how much this means to me and my family. My family's let him know too, so.
Jason Tully has been on dialysis for a year. The average weight for a kidney is about 2, which is why he says he is so grateful for this gift. He is no longer on a list of 50,000 who are still waiting.
I didn't expect it from my own family. If they'd been able to do it, I wouldn't expect, them to do it, let alone, a friend of mine.
And what makes this case unique, says transplant surgeon Alejandro Mejia, is that the odds of having a friend who's a match is 1 in 100,000.
The complications in the donor are minimal, and that's why we do it. If we will think that the donor will have a significant risk of either dying or having other problems, we wouldn't do these type of procedures.
Obviously very thankful, but it seems like that's not enough to say. You know what I mean? Like, I just, thanks. He didn't give me gas money, you know what I mean? Which he has before, so, and I haven't paid that back yet, so.
It's not a bad thing. It shouldn't be a scary thing to want to donate. And that's probably the best thing you could probably do for someone.
It is clear they are now bonded in a way that means they'll truly be friends for life.
Well, the surgery took place last Thursday, and we are very happy to report that the two are doing very well. And a very special thank you to Jason and Jeremy for sharing their story with us, and our best to both as they recover. To Pam Farrow for sharing her 10 best decisions that a woman can make. An awesome book. I encourage you to pick it up. Also to Dr. Gross for advice on getting our kids ready for summer camp. Don't forget to pick up this month's Dallas Child and Fort Worth Child magazines. You can visit them online at dallaschild.com. And before we go, someone once said, life without friendship is like the sky without the sun. I hope you have a really great week and a great weekend. Until next Tuesday, take care.